Welcome to Hilarity by Default's weekly Brisco County Jr. review, starring the striking chin of Bruce Campbell. Episode 19, Brooklyn Dodgers, has Brisco and Bowler helping two young orphans get to San Francisco to claim a significant inheritance while being pursued by a dangerous New York gang aiming to steal it from the children. Meanwhile, Socrates Poole turns Sherlock Holmes in an attempt to discover the real truth behind the incident that killed their parents. You might guess from its sports-themed title, this will be the episode of Brisco where he discovers the coming thing of Major League Baseball. Quite the contrary. The closest indication of a coming thing throughout this entire episode is perhaps a minute comment about the need for improving mass transportation. Well, I guess some coming things will never change. Instead, we are treated to a quieter story, free from time travel, UFO, orbs, and ghost dads, to focus on two orphans trying to make their way to San Francisco to claim an inheritance, and the conniving wolves that are after them. Hell, one fleeting villain is literally named Wolf. Perhaps the biggest surprise, for me that is that Socrates may have the most interesting narrative in this episode, supplying a satisfying backbone to a plain but dramatic story in logical fashion.
You mentioned my dude Socrates, which, listen, I texted you while watching this episode that this is easily the strongest appearance by Socrates Poole so far, and we're only 8 episodes or so left. There is no way I see that getting beat here. I'm calling Pinnacle early, and if I'm wrong, I will be glad to talk about how dumb I was when we get there.
Mr. Poole, a pleasure.
Ah, the lilt of the old sod. What county are you from, Mr. Traherne?
Well, we moved around a great deal.
So does your accent.
I like that you mentioned right up here up front in this intro that Socrates Poole may in fact have been, you ironically used backbone describing Socrates Poole. Don't act like I didn't see what you did there, big boy. Okay, I'm sorry, big boy. So, but yeah, not to mention the I'm about to call Brisco and Bowler the subplot, but it was pretty good too. I mean, listen, you get the unique historical experience of meeting a young vampire in Harmony, and then you also see what would be the inspiration for the Peaky Blinders or the Cheeky Blinders or the whatever. I don't know.
Socrates and Comet get a much greater focus following a bit of a sidelining in some of the more recent episodes. Heck, the episode hinges on their involvement, not to mention that it's quite an amusing way to kick off an episode with an attempted Grand Theft Comet.
I mean, listen, you knew I was going to mention it if you didn't. Beats the fireball out of a car alarm, I'll tell you right now, right? What's more successful? Meh, meh, Matt, or whoa, Comet. Listen.
Well, it takes you in circles if you do steal.
I got it. That security system, by saying whoa, Comet, was the coming thing and they didn't even know it. It's the kind of thing that the I forget what they call it, but it's in the Ford cards, and it's it's not Siri. I forget what they call it. Drat.
OnStar?
OnStar has that kind of security. Huh?
Yeah. OnStar is in the heavens where comets are.
Bruh, this is writing itself, homie.
So you say that this episode was predicting a literal coming thing that didn't exist when the show was made.
It was a coming thing for a coming thing. Meta.
Ghosts. Holy crap. Although I think that the first half, people may point out that it might be a little bit sentimental and or predictable. I will counter by saying that the latter half features some great set pieces, including an armed band of belly dancers and a knockout fight on a fire escape. Plus, how can you rag on any episode that features Bowler punching a guy through a window?
That's the kind of stuff you see from Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator through a car window, baby.
I buy it more from Bowler.
Wow, that's a statement.
I'm serious. I don't know why, but
I got nothing, Demo.
What did you think of both of these sequences, specifically the belly dancer scene, which I thought was funny and clever? It's a kind of humor that fits right at home in this universe, and I love it. And the fire escape fight was pretty damn good.
I did appreciate the fire escape conflict, no doubt. I think it was all particularly well done there. And as for the belly dancers, listen, this is a concept we've seen before in other ways, and it was just really well executed. I'm not going to knock it.
It's indicative of the small enjoyable moments that this particular episode has, such as Socrates discovering sushi, Bowler's contempt for anyone that criticizes his hat. I especially like, speaking of Bowler, that he continues his penchant for self-criticism as he berates Brisco on a particular bulletproof solution that left them vulnerable for headshots, thus negating the biggest suspension of disbelief in that scene with a joke. I love that.
But what if one of them Johnnies had shot me in the head instead of this shovel?
They never do that, Buller. They always shoot for the heart. It's some kind of honorable tradition.
Yeah, what if their honor had slipped a little? What if they was feeling kind of lazy? What if they missed?
Then I wouldn't have to listen to you yell at me.
For me, that too was another dime in this many dollars worth of episode, no question. And I would also, my favorite moment in this episode with Socrates Poole was engaging that captain. And when he was shaking him down and like, he goes like, he's not getting anything from him. And he sees the wreck of a man that the captain's become. And he's like,
God help you, Boggs.
yo, I felt that to my core. Like that's some stuff that got thrown down all serious that rivals Brisco calling out Brisco Sr.'s friend for being a drunk, a number of episodes back.
I will agree, and I think that the clever thing that this episode does is it doesn't take the easy route out. Any other show would have had, and they kind of introduced it this way too, would have played a redemption story for the captain, but they shut it down. They actually play a real card here.
That's true, but I would come back by saying this: once he found the random female that he was looking for, and we knew when he got to that house that he was finding the mother of the children and they would have a place to live, and then they wouldn't live to end up, having the kind of life as like, a child actor like Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, they kind of foreshadow that, we got to find them a home throughout the episode. And I will admit that's a bit too convenient for my liking.
I'm nitpicking, mind you, but you mentioned a lack of prediction. I said, yeah, that was cool, but then they had this too.
Yeah, but they added enough twists early on, even with the villain. The first guy that we meet said Wolf from the beginning of our intro. They kind of set him up. You think that that Socrates' mission would have been to prove that this guy is a fake, but then this guy gets shot down real quick. Oh, these are the villains. Okay, these guys are a bit of a threat.
Not just some punk. No,
Peaky Blinders. I mean,
yeah. And the Blinders guys, that's what I'm going to call them. Sorry. I know they're calling them Johnnies, whatever.
Blinders sounds cooler to me.
I agree. It's not that they weren't well done. The thing I'm wrestling with is I didn't particularly like them, but I can't really cut them. I want to not like them.
One of them really was a character. The other two,
I mean, yeah, it was like the agents in the Matrix. I get it, but I didn't really want to like them, and the lead one in particular. But where I halt myself is two things. A, how many times have I given credit to this series for successfully pulling off a fish that's out of water that makes sense, though, even though he's out of water, right? The most egregious example being the pirate captain in the episode with the pirates who have the cannon on the stagecoach, right? These guys are no different than that. These are cats that traveled from Brooklyn doing Brooklyn stuff up in the West Coast in San Francisco, right? And so in the surrounding area. Maybe me not liking them is supposed to happen to at least some extent. So I hesitate to talk that much trash on it.
I'll probably say that by the end of this series, I think that the Pirates episode is going to stick in your head more than these guys will, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The only thing that didn't quite work for me, and this is not the case of the actors, it's more of the presentation. I think the kids are, for the most part, they're caricatures. I mean, it's a sweet little girl who immediately trusts Brisco, the untrusting, bratty teenager who is in real need of guidance. Yeah, minor quibble, I get it. But the thing that sticks out to me is that the real meat here is how their stories affect Bowler and Brisco. and how it brings their past to the forefront. That's what sells this whole story for me.
And yet the past history of Bowler and Brisco, in my opinion, is not focused on enough to really make that part land, which is why the kids come off as the caricature that you point out.
I would agree with that to respect. It's probably one of the reasons, like I said, it's the story with Brisco and the kids is the more predictable nature of this, where you have like the detective story going on with Socrates and him meeting all these various characters as he's following clue by clue. I mean, at one point he's walking through dark alleys in San Francisco. It felt like Sherlock Holmes walking through foggy London. If Sherlock Holmes was a little bit more, he stuck his pinky out a little bit more.
I mean, listen, I would love to see Sherlock Holmes versus Socrates Poole. I'm sure
Sherlock Socrates.
I mean, I'm
Socrates
sure
Holmes.
Or no, I got it. Watson's captured, and for an episode, Socrates Poole substitutes as Watson. Boom! You'd watch that.
The time period will align.
Dun, 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 dun. Anyways.
So I think we're ready to get to the big comet rating of the evening. And I'm very, very curious to how many comets you would give Brooklyn Dodgers.
It's ironic because it's named after a baseball entity, and I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. There's no question. If we were in the habit of cutting comets, I would say 4.5. What prevents me from rolling it to 5 and keeping it at 4 is the very thing you pointed out as both our biggest frustration. The children. They're just too fireball. Often they're annoying. They distracted me at times from enjoying the gold that was really going on. When the blinder turns to him the one time and starts getting verbally blunt with him when they're beating up Brisco, didn't bother me so much. That's how much these kids got on my nerves.
I was kind of hoping he gets smacked in the face. Maybe that's I'm a bad person for that. I don't know. Brooklyn Dodgers. That guy should have had a bat. I should have seen some carnage.
I'm not going that far, but what I will say is, listen, with him having that close a proximity to Bruce Campbell and him not have a rat in the face moment, missed opportunity.
I would say, overall, Brooklyn Dodgers is a compact cowboy curiosity containing clever combat and candor. If we were to use Kyle's Cheese Pizza Foundation argument, I'd say that this one has a few toppings to be considered.
Yes, thank you.
It's not a supreme pizza, and I'd argue it's not a meat lovers either.
No.
But I'd accept a pepperoni and sausage dynamic here. I'm also giving it 4.
With some mushrooms sprinkled in, absolutely. I'd give this one 3 toppings, no question.
So 3 toppings for 4 comments. I think we're good with that.
Worst movie ever.
So join us every week as we cover all 27 episodes of The Adventures of Brisco County Jr. We invite you to watch along and let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are on each episode. And make sure to like and subscribe for more fun from Hilarity by Default.